So it's not a round robin, it's a Swiss format. So everyone plays like everyone differently depending on the results. And it's best of ones. So the enemy team has a Republic, Double Des Moines, Zhao, Gearing, and Yuying. So double destroyer setup for and the Zhao as well. So double Zhao, double Des Moines, and 2 destroyers. So there's more firepower on the SPUDS team. It just comes down to how that's implemented, how it's used. Quick self-ram, and we'll get ourselves started. You can see the 3 capture points on the minimap down the bottom right. It is the standard ranked clan battle format tournament setup. Really? Okay, okay. This is what happens when you don't have a... Can't actually tell how much health I have. Well, I'll flood out. Regardless, if we have a quick look at the map view, we have, because we're too far away for their little radar, but we can see in the minimap at the beginning start, there's this push by the Worcester into A, and we see there's a 4-ship push going for the A cap. There we go. Hey there. Right, so Gearing, Moskva, Zhao, Henry. Now the Moskva can park its butt somewhere around here, nose in, and has radar on the cap, gets good sight. The Zhao is kind of a good flanking ship. The Henry is also quite fast, good flanking ship as well. And the Gearing is, I'm guessing, the ship that might push in and cap and be kind of like a counter destroyer spotter, because sight and detection is another important thing. So the Gearing, being fairly stealthy, can be on the front line. Doesn't need to ever fire, but he can spot, you know, enemy cruisers. It's kind of why Zhaos are preferred, because they're quite stealthy. Things like Hindenburg are not really that great, in the sense that once they're spotted and picked up, they're quite hard to disengage if it's a destroyer that keeps spotting you and then everyone else just keeps shooting at you. And it'll appear on the B side, SPUDS' second Zhao, their only Worcester and Montana, so the Worcester has a radar, is locking down the B cap. And the Montana, the sole battleship, has got himself into a position where he can, if needs be, fire over to the east side of the map, but also has his gun ready to kind of lob shells over the islands, as it were, and support the western flank's push down. Still no sight of the enemy, so you are playing with the information that you know what the enemy has. So the enemy team has a Gearing and a Yuyang. So they've got a radar, they've got double DD, they don't have as much firepower, but they can have their destroyer split on both sides of the map, so their destroyer may can do some form of spotting. But it's dangerous, because the Worcester basically has radar range the same as its detection range, so if you see it, you kind of spot it. And they can also use a variety of RPF to see where their ships are, and the Zhao can be up front with the Worcester, because I believe it's slightly more stealthy, I think. Test fire perhaps from the Henry? Well, we see the Moskva is parking into his little parking spot. He's going to have front guns, he'll be able to fire down at kind of flanks, and he'll also be able to provide a sort of an information radar. And with like combined ship RPF, they're able to kind of detect the ships, you know, theoretically where they are. Now, of course, if this was a carrier game, I would have spotted everything by now and AP bombed quite possibly the enemy team. Another point to note is that the captains here are playing non-CV setup, so they'll be playing hydros, they'll see the torpedoes incoming, you know, and there'll be no defense fires. It'll be pure anti-ship kind of stealth, that type of stuff. So the Zhao's got him spotted, and he's taken a couple little taps. Kind of long-range pot shots from the Montana. Public spotted as well. He's gone stealth though, and that's kind of the issue with stealth. The Gearing has to be closer, but if you don't know where all the ships are in the composition, there are 2 Des Moines radars. Probably there's a Des Moines on the south side here, maybe, yeah, because something's firing here. That may be a radar ship, that may be Des Moines, so he's also detecting. The Moskva is getting clipped over the islands though. So he's reversing into a better park position, but he's taking... It's not an insignificant amount of health being chumped. The Zhao's got him spotted, he's dodged the Destroyer Torps. Those are, I think, normal torps. We've had deep water and normal torps. So the Gearing and Yuang are probably on this flank. From the SPUDS point of view... Well, they must be using slightly farming, so they'd have to kind of punish the Zhao, push him back. On the far flank... Oh, never mind. Take that back. The Gearing, those were Zhao torps probably being fired at the Mossva there, not the Second Destroyer, because we just saw them over here. They're having their own little private duel, and it's the Des Moines that's firing over on the flank to tap the Mossva, because he knows he's rough position. Every little tap, you know, just taking his health down is important, because you're working off health pools. But, as we see by our little bar up the top, Gearing's taking quite a beating, and he can't get that health back. So... teams are not necessarily rushing for the A-cap, it's more... Wow, the Gearing dies to fire. Alright, that's a huge advantage to SPUDS. It's essentially been the same as dying a cruiser, not just dying a destroyer, because they went with the 2-destroyer setup. So that's quite painful for the MIRAI team. And the benefit is additionally, the SPUDS team doesn't need to be aggressive, they don't need to push, they have that sort of natural advantage, and this isn't like ranked where someone's going to go do something stupid, you think, and charge in. Now, they've got relatively high health, the enemy Republic's pretty beat up, down to 50%, and although they can't see the enemy team, it doesn't matter. The B cap is fully secured, it doesn't matter the enemy's got the C cap because you're ahead on points, and you're pretty much ahead on health pools, especially on the battleship, and then the A cap, as long as the enemy's not capping, it doesn't matter that you're not capping either. I'm guessing that's a raider from the Des Moines on the SPUDS Gearing, and he's taking some hits, but if he just backs off, difficult long-range shots from the Zhao and the Republic, so probably okay. Yeah, he's not going to get picked off. It would need some spectacular Republic AP shells, but it's actually been fired on the Zhao instead, and he's angled. So I mean, he's taken some chump hits, but I mean overall, if we look at the combined health totals, SPUDS is slowly losing health. I'm guessing there'll be some health and speed regeneration of the Worcester over in the distance. Already been one radar. The second radar they know is way over down on the south, as we can just see him on the minimap, so there won't be a second radar. So the smoking up of the Gearing and maybe providing Zhao some kind of stealth or something along those lines is helpful. Oh my goodness. The Gearing from SPUDS also managed to torp and destroy the enemy Yuang. Yuang having deep water torps can't do the same. So that's just a fortunate torpedo, a little bit of RPF, a little bit of detection, there was no radar, just got clipped. So again, any type of comeback that was being in favor of MIRAI is now not happening, because they're now down 2 destroyers. Or the equivalency in firepower is a destroyer and a cruiser. Now they have the disadvantage of that the Gearing outside of radar turnarounds can spot the enemies out in the Republic, where there's a much harder time for the MIRAI team to respond on this western flank, because they will need the radar to get into detection, and pushing up they're outnumbered then 4-3, or 4-2 in this scenario. It really depends whether or not Des Moines can fire. He's still doing this flanking fire, Fubiki. He's doing kind of this long range chips, and the Mossva has taken a bunch of chump damage, and if they didn't lose their early destroyers earlier, the Republic may be able to keep punishing this Mossva in his kind of position. But I don't see how the game can come back now. Worcester Zhao from SPUDS is also hunting down the enemy Zhao in the kind of flank, and it does mean that they can get a flanking fire on the Des Moines on the south side, north of C, on the south of the map. And the Zhao is up front. You know, detectability, first spotting, takes the first couple of shots. This Worcester doesn't need to. And the Mossva's still taking a beating. I mean, it's not game over. They are punishing the Mossva. It won't bring them back in points, but how much health are you sacrificing for that Mossva kill? And he's going to keep reversing, but you might find that... I always find that the islands scrape and stop me, so this is the interesting bit here, whether or not it gets clipped. I always get stuck. Okay. Yep, there you go. So, there's a hidden little underwater bit. It's kind of just slowing him down, and he's gone. Alright. That's good counterplay. Republic and Zhao coming back. Ooh, the Des Moines going around the corner. Why did the SPUDS gearing feel it was necessary to push into the cap? They had such a huge advantage. Unless he gets torps off right now, and that's Montana Fire absolutely smashing into the side of him, but he's still going to get the gearing, and he'll go stealth once the gearing dies. This will get them back into the game. What? And they're in the point lead. If he survives the salvo, which he does, now the game has fundamentally been flipped on its head. MIRAI now has the A cap. They're going to hit double point generation, and in terms of ships, they're kind of back in it. Enemy destroyers are killed on both sides. Worcester got killed on the far side. Oh, that was Zhao push on the Worcester side. I was hesitant about it, but he got punished. I didn't see the kill, but they got detected. Maybe there's a Worcester radar, Des Moines radar on the Worcester, and he got killed. And just like that, the game flips in the head. The SPUDS team didn't need to be aggressive. They had a dominating control. They could have even reversed the Moskva early and had him round the corner. Well, that being said, the Henry managed to burn down the Republic, so great. For SPUDS and MIRAI, I guess the Zhao needs to back off. They've got double cap control. Even though they're now down a ship, they can back off. They have A. But the critical thing is that the Montana is going to push into... Oh, hold on. AP shots coming in. Oh! Very painful citadels on the Zhao's flank. Now, what do you do if you're Des Moines in A? You can't necessarily escape because the Henry and the Zhao are waiting for you to come out, and the Montana's going to ground. He's full health, he's not even scratched, he doesn't have any flanking from the Des Moines and the Zhao from the other side who are going to go for the his team Zhao, and what does this guy do? He has no torps. Oh, this is going to be painful. Oof. And what does he do? Does he go into the Henry and the Zhao? He's waiting, he's like out of the frying pan into the fire. He's going to get hunted down and killed. And then now the cap point is going to flip back in SPUDS' favor. They're going to get A, they're going to kill the Des Moines, and now they're going to have a two-ship advantage. And that should, or it should be tied again? And the only ship with good health is the Zhao in the south, and we don't know where they last are. Are they pushing up to B? Are they trying to come over to help with the flanking on A? Are they trying to hunt down that last Zhao who can just kind of run away? And this, he's stuck. He can't go broadside. You know, he can't escape. He can't turn. So he's just got to go forwards and run away from the Montana. Now, he knew the Montana was coming. Could he have done something? Could he have waited at the corner and tried to do a ram or a charge with some AP shots? At point blank range with a bit of RPF? I don't think that would have gone anywhere. So, SPUDS retakes the lead after a very, weird turnaround. Which, I guess happens in ranked all the time. I don't know if it happens to clan battles a lot. So, broadside pickup. Some hits. Both sides showing broadside. Better shots though by Konean against Cosmo. Where is the second Des Moines? No, it's an angled Zhao. We also have another angled Zhao from Cosmo. Is he going to take torps though? Quite possible if he doesn't pick up the pace. Alright, dodged. We see where the Des Moines is now. The Des Moines went to Bravo. It's not game over. Although I say that, it depends whether or not this Konean from the SPUDS player can be punished by the Des Moines, because he's grabbing B. If he then rotates back round, so he's spotted, and he's now opening fire. He's got a broadside shot, and he's opening fire with AP. Good hits, good amount of damage. If the Des Moines can disengage from the Zhao he doesn't know is there, and help kill off this target, it's 2 cap advantage, and they'll have... Oh! Good citadels there by MIRAI, and the game, again, flips in the head a second time. MIRAI is... Oh, wow, Cosmo almost dies to double... Oh, Sills on the flank. Well, MIRAI is now in the lead. They can disengage, they can go stealth. If the enemy Zhao, this is the MIRAI Zhao on the western flank, stays in stealth because there's no radar, then they have the A and C cap points. The Zhao needs to push into B. The Montana is the wrong way. He's facing nose in. He's trying to just take blind shots on the Zhao. Oh, he gets it! He gets the Zhao blind fire! That's huge! The point differential now means that the Montana needs to turn around. The Henry needs to turn. The Des Moines is going to be super close now, because the double cap still means that if we see in the timer 2 minutes and 13 seconds, they will still win first. MIRAI's still going to win even though they're so crippled. the DM can reset B and stall it. He just needs to not die. And the Zhao, well, the Henry's trying to find him. Maybe they have RPF. Maybe they can tell where he is. It really depends on the captain build. And he needs to hunt him down and spot him, because the health pool of the last Zhao was last seen to being super low by being Citadel by the Montana. So, right, so the Montana's still reversing. I don't think he's going to be, in 1 minute 40 seconds, they're not going to get to the cap. He needs a spot on the enemy Des Moines. This Zhao needs to charge in at full speed, or the Henry needs to find it. They need sight. They need to spot it. And the thing is, MIRAI's in the lead again with points, and they're going to win. He has no other option. I think he's left it too late. He's trying to do some sort of torping, but that's irrelevant. You need to get into the B cap and stall the point generation. Oh man, I mean, if you're a MIRAI player here, you're biting your fingernails. You are absolutely nail bite tension. They know roughly where the DM is. The thing is, the DM has the advantage of the radar as well. So if he gets ship detected, he can radar, and that would pick up the Zhao, roughly. I mean, you know, once he's ship detected because of the Zhao's detection range. Maybe, kind of, sort of. But he just needs to back off. In fact, they can probably afford this enemy Zhao to go into B and still not open fire, because if they won't cap the point, they'll slow it, but the C cap is fully secured and it's not going to be captured by the end of this game. It's like, this game has gone back and forth 3 times. And they didn't need to. It was SPUDS' game. They had won it in the bag, and then they threw it away, and then MIRAI was in the lead, and then, oh, you know, it's just good gunfire on both sides, but still, here we go. 23 seconds until they win. The problem is that the Montana's gone up to B. The Henry has tried to find the Zhao. Maybe he should have just gone for the C cap. Maybe the Montana should have turned earlier and tried to go for the C cap as well. The thing is, will they even get into the cap? No, he wouldn't even make it. That turning and torping, he would have never made it to the B cap anyway. MIRAI's gonna win the game! With the 2 destroyers down. Oh man, what a game! That was crazy. That was pretty crazy. That was SPUDS through that game. If we're being brutally honest here, SPUDS through it. How did they through it? They got 2 destroyer kills. They got a random torpedo drop on the enemy Yu-Yang, and before that there was a Zhao fired killing of the enemy gearing. This is from the SPUDS side. They had control. They did need to cap A, both 1 cap apiece. They're stalling the enemy. Maybe they reverse their Mossfight and keep it hidden, but even if they lose the Mossfight, they're still ahead. They're still slowly accumulating points. Let the enemy come towards you and kill it. But instead, the enemy, the SPUDS, Worcester, and one of their Zhaos, Kunian I believe it was, goes on a joyride down the eastern flank. And you don't need to do that. You don't need to hunt the enemy. You don't need to push. You have the ascendancy. You've got the lead. So, there you go. Anyway, that is what that was.